The morning sun glinted off the serene waters of Crescent Cove Estates, a gated lakeside enclave where homes averaged $2.8 million, and the air carried the weight of privilege. At 7:23 a.m., 19-year-old Caleb Harper knelt in the soft earth of his late father's property, planting white lilies in a memorial garden. His gardening gloves were caked with rich soil, a tribute to his father, Nathan, who died 8 months earlier from what doctors called a sudden heart attack. Caleb's quiet reverence was shattered when a voice, sharp as a guillotine, sliced through the calm. Security breach. We have a trespasser destroying private property. It was HOA President Vanessa Langley, her silver hair gleaming, her designer athleisure trembling with fury as she dialed 911, accusing Caleb of vandalism and endangering the community. Within minutes, 3 patrol cars screeched onto the property, their lights casting jagged reds and blues across the manicured lawns. Neighbors, drawn from their million-dollar cabins, raised smartphones to capture what they assumed would be the scandal of the decade. Vanessa, a 52-year-old cryptocurrency heiress who ruled Crescent Cove with medieval authority, stood triumphant, certain she'd rid the community of this delinquent. But she was about to ignite a legal wildfire that would consume her carefully constructed empire. Caleb, far from the vagrant she'd painted, was moments from becoming the most powerful figure in a $50 million neighborhood, a twist so sharp it could have been carved with a scalpel. Crescent Cove wasn't just a neighborhood. It was a fortress of wealth, with private beaches worth more than most families' life savings and HOA rules stricter than a military code. Nathan had owned Cabin 47, a 3,200-square-foot masterpiece with 180 feet of pristine shoreline, for 12 years. When he died, he left it to Caleb with a cryptic will stipulating that Caleb must live there for a full year or forfeit the property to a mysterious trust. Caleb, unlike his peers chasing social media fame, spent his days studying corporate law and forensic accounting online, quoting his father's mantra, "Knowledge is the only inheritance no one can steal." Vanessa, however, saw Caleb's presence as a threat to property values, circling Cabin 47 like a vulture since Nathan's funeral. That morning, as Caleb planted lilies, Vanessa's accusation unleashed chaos. Officer Daniel Torres, a stern veteran, approached with his hand near his holster, demanding Caleb's ID and proof of residency. The crowd swelled, neighbors filming with a mix of glee and unease. Caleb, calm as still water, reached into his jacket and produced a weathered manila envelope sealed with legal tape. Officer Torres opened it, his eyes widening at a property deed naming Caleb as the owner not since Nathan's death, but 3 years prior, when Caleb was 16. Vanessa's face flushed crimson. "That's impossible. Minors can't own property. This is fraud," she sputtered, her authority crumbling. Caleb's smile was serene, almost predatory. "You're right about minors, but you might want to check my birth certificate." He handed over a document dated 8 months earlier, a corrected version revealing his birth date as March 15, 2004. Then came the bombshell. "My legal name isn't Caleb Harper. It's Caleb Vanessa Langley Harper." The crowd gasped, and Vanessa staggered, clutching a fence post as if the ground had betrayed her. "Impossible," she whispered. "I never had children." Caleb tilted his head, his voice chillingly polite. "Are you sure, mother?" The word mother hit like a thunderclap. Caleb revealed a sealed adoption, unraveled by evidence of fraud. He wasn't just Nathan's son, he was Vanessa's biological child, sold through a black market adoption network to Nathan and his late wife, Emily. Vanessa, then operating under a different name, had abandoned her infant son to fuel her nomadic criminal career. Now, she'd unwittingly targeted her own flesh and blood, drawn to Crescent Cove by the same financial records she'd researched during the adoption. As Vanessa's composure shattered, Caleb handed Officer Torres bank statements, wire transfers, and shell company records. They painted a damning portrait. Vanessa had orchestrated a decade-long elder fraud scheme across 5 states, targeting vulnerable homeowners, manipulating their wills, and stealing $23 million in assets. Cabin 47 was her latest prize until Nathan uncovered her pattern 6 months before his death. Caleb's voice grew heavy. "My father's heart attack wasn't natural. A private toxicology report found dioxin, a plant-based poison that mimics cardiac failure. Vanessa had been bringing him neighborly meals laced with her special herbs for weeks. The neighbors, once eager for gossip, backed away, realizing they'd lived beside a predator. Officer Torres radioed for detectives, his face grim as he reviewed medical documents confirming Nathan's poisoning. Caleb's lilies weren't just a memorial. They were bait, planted to provoke Vanessa's 911 call and ensure witnesses for his evidence. "I've been waiting for her to make a move," Caleb said, his voice steady but laced with grief. "Her call brought you here, exactly as I needed." Vanessa's defiance crumbled. "This is insane. He's unstable," she shrieked, but Caleb's final blow was merciless. "Mother, care to explain your $2.3 million in offshore accounts under 3 aliases? Or the storage unit with forged wills? Or your fingerprints on the deoxin bottle in your garden shed?" Detectives arrived, followed by a mobile crime scene unit. Vanessa tried to flee but was cornered, her rights red as she screamed, "I gave him everything. The best families, the finest schools." Caleb's reply was ice cold. "You sold me. Then you murdered the only parent who loved me." The investigation exploded. Detective Laura Bennett turned Vanessa's cabin into a command center, uncovering a criminal network spanning Washington to Arizona. Vanessa, born Sarah Mitchell, had changed identities 6 times, defrauding 17 elderly victims and amassing $47 million in stolen assets. Her storage unit held forged documents and psychological profiles of targets, revealing a predator honed over 15 years. Most chilling was evidence that Nathan's murder wasn't her first. 3 other Crescent Cove deaths were now under toxicology review. Nathan's will, requiring Caleb's residency, was a trap to lure Vanessa into overreaching. He'd spent his final months teaching Caleb financial forensics, knowing his investigation endangered his life. "Dad made me a weapon to stop her," Caleb said, staring across the lake. The Kieran Harper Foundation, funded by recovered assets, began aiding elder fraud victims, while Crescent Cove elected a transparent council to replace Vanessa's tyranny. Property values soared as the community healed, drawn to its newfound safety. Vanessa's trial gripped the nation. Prosecutors called her scheme the largest elder fraud conspiracy in U.S. history, with 38 counts of fraud, 27 of identity theft, and first-degree murder. She was sentenced to life without parole, her $100 million in penalties ensuring she'd never harm again. Nathan's hidden archive, found behind false walls, sparked Operation Silver Shield, dismantling 12 more fraud networks and recovering $200 million. Caleb, now 21, joined the FBI's Financial Crimes Division after graduating from Georgetown. His lily garden bloomed each spring, a testament to Nathan's sacrifice and Caleb's courage, a reminder that justice, patiently forged, can topple even the darkest empires.